Why hello there all you cool cats and kittens. Did you miss me? Because I sure missed you. Hello, my name is Shay Beecham. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Probably forgot I even had a YouTube channel because it's been a really long time since I've uploaded a video. It's been such a long time since I've uploaded a video because life just gets in the way sometimes. And on top of life getting in the way, I have moved locations. As you can see, my background does not look the way it usually does, but obviously all of this coronavirus nonsense has started happening, so we've been in quarantine. I've been quarantined inside the house now for 5 weeks. It's going on 5 weeks, and all this time I thought, okay, perfect, I finally have the free time to sit down and film and edit a video and post it to my YouTube channel, and I couldn't find my camera because we moved. This is Renly, by the way. Say hi, Renly. First and foremost, before I jump into the entirety of this video, I do want to say something kind of serious, and that is, obviously I know that we are in a scary time right now because of the coronavirus and everything that's happening in the world, and I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to everyone that is still working, putting their lives on the line, especially anybody that's working in the healthcare facilities and that kind of world. I have a lot of friends that are nurses and people I know that work in the healthcare facility. I can't talk. I don't know why I'm so nervous to talk. So yes, everybody that is working through this, I just want to say and give a huge shout out and thank you to all of you. You guys are amazing. Rock on. You guys are rock stars. Thanks to everyone, and hopefully everybody can get to a good place and we can all get through this together, and hopefully it will be over soon so everything can get back to normal. I hope I said all of that right. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. For today's video, I actually wanted to do and try something a little bit different and new. Anybody that knows me and has watched any of my previous videos, I'm really into makeup and I love doing makeup and I love sitting down in front of the camera and doing my makeup. Another thing that I absolutely love is true crime and conspiracy theories. Just like almost everybody else in the population probably. I had this idea pretty much when I started my YouTube channel. I thought, whoa, what if while I sit and do my makeup, I talk about a true crime story that I really like, or I talk about some conspiracy theories that I really like. And I thought it was a super good idea, and I don't really notice or see a bunch of people on YouTube doing that. And I thought, why not? Let's mix those two worlds together, because basically those two worlds mixed together creates Shay. Just add a plate of pierogies in there somewhere. I am going to be doing my makeup. While I'm doing my makeup, I'm going to be telling you guys a true crime story that I am interested in. So obviously, if you like true crime and or makeup, I would highly suggest that you keep on watching and possibly maybe subscribe, because if this goes well, I might continue doing videos like this if you guys really like it. I think if I continue this little series, I am gonna call it Beauty Time with True Crime. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop rambling and go ahead and get into the video. First, I'm gonna tie my hair back. I have never told a story while doing my makeup. I think this is going to be rather difficult, so it's possible my makeup will turn out to look like absolute ass. And if it does, just don't make fun of me for it. Or do. So, today we are going to be talking about the case of Mitrice Richardson. If you have never heard of this case before, oh honey, buckle up. It is so weird. So, Mitrice was born April 30th, 1985. Her full name is Mitrice Lavon Richardson. She was born by the parents of Latisse Sutton and Michael Richardson. So, it's gonna get a little confusing because Mitrice, the main person of this story, her mom's name is Latisse. So we have Mitrice, the daughter, Latisse, the mom. So in order to help kind of eradicate confusion between those two names, I'm gonna call her Mama Latisse, okay? So we have Mama Latisse And we have Michael Richardson. They both met in their junior year of high school. They started dating. By the time their senior year came, Mama Mitrice, she fell pregnant with Mitrice. And because she fell pregnant with Mitrice at such a young age, it was her senior year of high school, she moved in with her grandmother, Mildred. Since they were living with Mildred, Grandma Mildred pretty much took care of Mitrice most of the time, just so Mama Mitrice and Michael could continue with their school and work because they're seniors. Now, being so young, having a kid to take care for, you know, things happen. So, during this time period, Michael, the father, he worked at a fast food restaurant, and then he also sold some drugs on the side. Now, whatever, okay? Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to provide for your family. Ain't no judging over here, alright? You shouldn't judge either. But because he was doing illegal activity, because obviously selling drugs is a no-no, you're not supposed to do it, Michael was arrested when Mitrice was 4 years old, and he was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Since Michael had to go to prison, Mitrice, she didn't want to wait around for him, you know, she kind of wanted to move on with her life, so she started seeing other people. She ended up meeting a gentleman by the name of Larry Sutton. She did end up marrying him, and he became, obviously, Mitrice's new stepfather and kind of helped take care of Mitrice and everything. So when Mitrice was 7 years old, they moved to an LA suburb. They moved a little bit farther away, and it was called Covina. And apparently Covina, it was just way less violent. It was a little bit more quiet. It provided just a better life overall for the family, and it also provided a better school situation for Mitrice. She was described as very, very kind, very outgoing, very, very smart. Like, she did super well in school. She always had very, very high grades, and it was said that she actually struggled in school in the sense of boredom. She would get bored in school just because it was a little too easy for her sometimes, which, what a smart little cookie she was, am I right? She entered middle school. She started cheerleading, which she really, really loved. She loved cheerleading. She loved dance. That was the kind of stuff that she was really into. And she took cheerleading to high school with her. By the time she got to high school, she was doing the damn thing. She was doing a bunch of competitions, and she was really, really good at it and loved it. She was just known for always pretty much being happy, well-behaved. A lot of people loved her. She was the kind of person that was described as her happiness was contagious. I always kind of wonder, if something ever happens to me, I wonder what people would say about me. Like, she was an idiot. She just was such a dum-dum. She didn't know what the hell she was doing. In high school, she kind of started coming into her own a little bit, you know, kind of knowing who she was as a person, so she didn't really like being outside too much. She said she didn't like insects. She wasn't really big. She wasn't an outdoors girl, you know. She actually stopped doing a lot of the sports that she was doing because she just wanted to be inside, reading books and whatnot, doing some puzzles, watching TV, etc. And along with all of that, she started showing a great interest in psychology. Psychology really just interested her, the way the mind works, all that good jazz. Psychology interested her so much, in fact, that after high school, she did go to California State University, Fulton, and started working on her psychology degree. Now, because she went to Cal State Fulton, my bad. It was a little bit of a commute from where she lived, and her Grandma Mildred, who, you know, remember Grandma Mildred, she took care of her most of her life. She decided to move in with Mildred because A, it was a little bit closer to school, so the commute wasn't as far, and B, at this time, Mildred is getting up into her, I mean, it's her great grandma, so Mildred's getting up into her, you know, 90s, I believe. So it kind of worked out for everybody. It was a win-win. Mitrice got to go a little bit closer to school, so her commute was a lot closer, and Mildred had somebody there to live with her, her great-granddaughter. I'm pretty sure most grandmas out there, you know, they'd be ecstatic to hear that their granddaughter is coming to live with them. I know if I called my grandma up right now and was like, Gran, I'm coming to live with you, she would die of happiness. So Mitrice, you know, she is now living with grandma, she's going to school, and she is just doing the damn thing, let me tell you. She is doing so well in school. She made the dean's list, because I told you she was a smart cookie. In 2008, she graduated, obtaining her Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology, which, good for her. And after that, she said, why stop there? I'm going to get my master's degree. So while she was in college, she started a job at a kind of dance club type thing in Long Beach called Deborah's. And she wasn't a stripper, but she was a go-go dancer, I guess. I'm pretty sure most of you know what I'm talking about. She kind of was one of those girls that kind of danced, got the party going. Like, she wasn't taking off her clothes, but she was just kind of there to hype the party up. She did have a fake name when she worked at this place, and her name was Hazel. Obviously, real dad, Michael, he did not so much approve of her dancing at this club. He was just very, very worried about her safety, as most dads would be. And she just kept reassuring him, you know, Dad, it's okay, I'm not a stripper, everything's fine, I have a fake name, and it's cool, it's chill, it's kosher. Nothing to worry about, Dad. Just let me live my life, Dad. I'm trying to get that money, okay? Along with all of that, she did get interested in modeling, so she was going to these modeling interviews, trying to get modeling gigs and stuff, and a couple friends did show concern when she started doing this because, you know, her friends were just kind of like, yo, you better be careful, you know, going to these interviews because, like, you don't know who these people are. She was going to interviews in sketchy areas. Modeling is a great industry, but it can be sketch. We all know it. It was at this time too that she did come out as lesbian to her family. She told her family that she was interested in girls. They were 100% accepting of it. Nobody in her life really had a problem with it whatsoever. And she did obtain a love interest by the name of Vanessa. Now, it's kind of unclear what was happening between her and Vanessa. I don't know if her and Vanessa were talking, but they weren't technically dating because Vanessa had a girlfriend, or, you know, like some type of love triangle weirdness was going on. But Mitrice really, really liked Vanessa. She was very interested in Vanessa and very much wanted a relationship with this woman. It has been said that Vanessa didn't exactly share the same type of feelings for Mitrice. Mitrice did get invited to go to a super cool party at the Playboy Mansion. She was a guest model at the Playboy Mansion, so that's super something. She's getting somewhere, right? But it was at this time her friends are starting to notice she's acting a little different. She's starting to act kind of out of character and just kind of weird. So, you know, as life goes on, Mitrice is just showing very, very great interest in Vanessa, and Vanessa is just not feeling it back, so she ends up telling Mitrice, back off, leave me alone, kind of deal. At the time that happened, that really tore up Mitrice. It's very, very hard to love someone and they not have the same feelings for you back. So I'm pretty sure Mitrice was going through a seriously tough time, and it was at this point that friends really started to notice how she was acting. She's acting very, very different than she normally is. She's acting super withdrawn. She's not really responding to texts as much. You know, she's not really hanging out with friends as much. She wasn't really calling people back at all. And friends also started to notice that if she did text back, in the rarity that she did, the texts were just kind of weird. Like, the wording and her sentences, they were just kind of seeming a little strange. People would read her texts and, you know, they'd kind of just be like, what? What did she say? People also started noticing at this time that her Facebook and her MySpace page, because that was back in the MySpace days, holla, she was constantly posting statuses on both of those platforms, but the statuses were just very erratic. They were getting posted at all times of the day. Like, it didn't matter what time of the day it was. It could be like 3 a.m. and Mitrice was on there posting just these random thoughts. For example, one thing she posted was, "Have you ever woke up at a Saturday at 7 a.m. crying because you see the light and you realize other people are lost in the dark?" End quote. At this time, it is becoming the end of summer 2019, and Mitrice is just not getting any better. She's not showing any improvement. It almost seems as if, though, she's getting a little bit worse. At one point, her mother did send her a text message, you know, just kind of like, "Hey, what's going on? What's up?" To which Mitrice replied, quote, "I'm writing a book because you told me I could be anything that I wanted to be. You told me I was Miss America. You told me I was America's Next Top Model. Now, do you know what I want to be when I grow up? Miss Mother Nature. Because Miss America is a fake-ass joke. So now I am trying to find my way to Michelle Obama to see if she can talk to Mr. Obama about arranging my place in the White House." End quote. What? Okay, so obviously her mom is like, huh? What? So I believe it's without needing to be said, her mother is now growing just very concerned for her daughter. So now we have reached the day of September 16th, 2019. It started out as a pretty typical normal day, as it usually does. At this time, Mitrice is now 24 years old. I did forget to mention earlier that along with working at Deborah's, since that was a nightclub, she also worked part-time, I believe part-time or maybe full-time, at a shipping company. It was just a regular day job. So the day started out, she did go to her shipping company, you know, she went into work, everything's chill, everything's normal. Coworker said she seemed normal, everything was fine. However, she did leave for her lunch break and she just never returned. She just left on her lunch break. She didn't tell anybody that she was leaving on her lunch break. You know, nobody knew that she was leaving. So she ends up arriving home at Grandma Mildred's house, and since this was a Wednesday, every Wednesday, Mitrice and her grandma, her great-grandma Mildred, they would have dinner together. Except for tonight, because Mitrice said that she had other plans. What she actually told her grandmother was the ocean was calling her name and she needed to go to the beach. So, you know, she tells Grandma Mildred, "I'm gonna skip dinner and I am going to drive along the Malibu coast." Now, Mildred does state that when she talked to her granddaughter that she didn't suspect anything wrong. There was just nothing super concerning that stuck out to her, so she just said, "Okay, honey, you know, see you later." So, you know, everything's fine. Okay, cool. Mitrice leaves at about 5 p.m. for the Malibu coast. So at about the same, I believe it's the same day, between 4 and 7, Mitrice's aunt, her name is Lauren, she comes home from work and she walks up to her house, and all over her front yard and the steps leading to the front door are Mitrice's business cards from her go-go dance job at the, you know, Deborah's. She has business cards with her name Hazel on it. These business cards are spread just all over the yard and up the front steps. So that's kind of weird, right? And Mitrice's aunt Lauren is thinking like, oh, okay, well, I guess Mitrice stopped by. I don't know what time, but I guess she stopped by and I guess she dropped these everywhere. Still to this day, no one really knows why Mitrice stopped there and for, you know, what reason and what purpose. Aunt Lauren did find a note under the windshield wiper on the windshield of her husband's car. Now, again, much like her text messages, this note made absolutely no sense. There was a smiley face on the note, and within the note, it said at one point, "I, Uncle Johnny Jimmy," whatever that means. And then it also said, "Black women scorned." So, you know, now obviously her aunt is starting to get a little bit of a weird feeling like, What does this mean? What is going on? It is speculated that Mitrice arrived in Malibu at around 7 p.m. and you know, she's just chilling, driving along the coast. Why isn't this working? At which point she comes along a fancy restaurant by the name of, I believe it's Jeffrey's? I think it's Joffrey's. I'm a Game of Thrones fan, so I'm gonna call it Joffrey's. Now, this Joffrey's place. I don't know if any of you have been along the Malibu coast. I personally have not. But this Joffrey's place is a pretty fancy, schmancy type beautiful restaurant, and it is right on the water. So, you know, it's not exactly like rolling up to Cracker Barrel to sit down and eat. So, she pulls up to Joffrey's, and Joffrey's, since it is a little bougie, it is valet parking only. So she pulls up to the valet guy, and the valet guy says, hey, hold on one second, I've got to go, you know, I believe he had to go park another person's car, and basically said, like, wait here 5 minutes and I'll park your car, right? So the valet guy pulls off, goes and parks the car, whatever other customer's car he was parking, and he comes back, and it says that Mitrice got out of her car, and she sat down into, it said the valet's car. So I don't know if that means she went and sat down in his personal car, the valet's car, or maybe like somebody else's car, like another customer's car or something. I guess we'll just, for story's sake, say the valet's car. He comes back and he sees her sitting not in her car, but this different car. Right? What the hell? So obviously, you know, he goes up to the car and he says like, hey, what are you doing? To which she replied, quote, it's subliminal, end quote. What? So obviously the valet guy is like, oh, okay. Now in this car are a bunch of CDs. So she's rifling through these CDs, right? And I'm assuming one of the CDs was a Michael Jackson CD, but after she said it's subliminal, she then tells the valet that she needs to avenge Michael Jackson's death. So like, okay, whatever, you gotta avenge Michael Jackson's death, okay, cool. She hands the valet her keys so he can go park her car, and she heads on inside to the restaurant. Now the valet, he doesn't stop her from going into the restaurant, but he does go to the hostess, and he says something to the hostess, and he kind of just says, you know, like, hey, make sure you keep an eye on her, she's acting kind of weird. Which, same. I don't know about you guys, I am just afraid of people in public that I don't know. So if I were in the valet's situation and this woman, who I have no idea who she is, was doing all of that and said that to me, I'd probably be having a full-blown panic attack. I'd probably go to my manager and be like, oh my god, this woman is freaking me out. I don't know if I want to be here while she's here. She's saying some weird stuff, dog. Oh, by the way, also, before she walks into the restaurant, after she hands the valet her keys, she turns to the valet and she says, is Vanessa here? And the valet guy is like, who is Vanessa? Who the hell? I don't know. And Mitrice says, look out for a woman with tattooed arms. Suspicious. So Mitrice, you know, she heads on into the restaurant, and immediately she kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in this restaurant because, as I said, this is a restaurant on the Malibu coast. Mitrice, she's wearing a Bob Marley t-shirt, Vans, skinny jeans, and she's wearing a pink alligator belt to hold her jeans up and whatnot. She's sticking out like a sore thumb because she's not, like, exactly dressed for this restaurant. So she tells the hostess, you know, like, table for one. And the hostess goes and sits her, and near her there is a party of about 7 people. So Mitrice decides that she's just gonna be this social little butterfly and kind of go introduce herself to this table and literally just kind of like invite herself in. When she sits down with these people who she has never met before, she says, sorry I'm late, but I'm here now. When she sits down to talk with these people, they said that when they sat and talked with her that she was very, very friendly, very nice to be around, but they said she was very weird. She was just saying kind of off the wall things. For example, when she said, "Sorry I'm late, I'm here now," one of the people at the table asked her like, "Okay, cool, like how'd you get here?" I guess maybe just making conversation or something. To which she replied, "I followed the lights and I followed the voices." Along with saying that super strange comment, she was just saying very, very strange things. For example, she told them that she is from another planet. She told them that she is from Mars. She told them that her mother is Mother Nature. She was also reading their palms, I believe, and she was trying to teach them a made-up language of some kind. She orders a $65 steak and she orders herself a cocktail. Her food comes, she eats her food. It must have been a damn life-changing steak for it to be about 65 damn dollars. I'd like to try a piece of steak that's $65. When she gets done eating, I believe she goes and sits, back down with this party table. After they have their food, the ha-has are had and what have you, the party is kind of getting up now and they're starting to leave. And Mitrice gets up and she's kind of just leaving with them. And as she's kind of getting up, walking out with this party, the manager of the restaurant stops her and he says, "Whoa, miss, where do you think you're going? You still haven't paid for your bill." She tells the manager of the restaurant, like, "Yes, my food is paid for. The people I was just with, they paid for my food." And the manager's like, "No, they didn't. They did not pay for your food, and you need to pay for your food before you can walk out of here." So she's not paying for her food. She can't pay for her food, according to her. And they're like, "Okay, can you call someone?" The only phone number that she seemed to be able to remember was her great-grandmother's, Grandma Mildred's number. That's the only phone number because she doesn't have her phone on her. She doesn't have anything on her person at all. They call Grandma Mildred, and the manager explains to Mildred that Mitrice came in, had an $89 bill, and that she needed to pay for it and that she can't pay for it. Now, Mildred offered to pay for the bill. Mildred was like, "I have credit card information that I can give you. I can take care of the bill, no problem." According to this restaurant's policy, they could not allow Mildred to pay for her bill because she had to either be in person to sign the receipt or fax them over her signature in order to pay for the bill. Mildred's 90 years old. She can't make that drive right now. And she also does not have a fax machine. So she's like, "Okay, well, I can't do that." Because obviously Mitrice is now not paying for her food, the restaurant calls the police. They contact the men in blue.
Lawsville Sheriff Station Deputy Shalip, how can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling from Joffrey's Restaurant in Malibu.
Yeah.
We have a guest here who is refusing to pay her bill, and we think she sounds really crazy. She may be on drugs or something. We are wondering if someone can come by and pick her up.
Okay, well, what's the address there?
It's 27400 Pacific Coast Highway.
And is she a white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
She's a young black girl. She's probably in her 20s.
Okay, what's she wearing?
She's wearing a black t-shirt and I think blue jeans.
Is she with anybody else?
No, it's just her.
So at 9 p.m. these officers arrive. So they start talking to Mitrice and they're like, "Yo, what's going on? Why aren't you paying for your bill?" And Mitrice explains to the police officers that she can pay for her bill. Her wallet is just in her car. She needs to go get her wallet from her car. The police officers go and search her car. Immediately they notice when they open up her car and look inside, it is an absolute mess. It straight up looks like she has been living out of her car. The officers do not find her wallet, but they do find her ID, which I personally find extremely strange because usually your ID is in your wallet. 9 times out of 10, people put their ID in their wallet. But I guess it is possible. You can't rule anything out, I guess. I don't know. They don't find her wallet, but they find her ID. And in her center console, they find a little bit of the devil's grass. You know what I'm talking about. So at this point, police officers decide to give her a sobriety test, which she passes with flying colors. So now they know, okay, she's not under the influence of anything. The police officers ask the manager if he would like to press charges, and it's later claimed that he wanted to make a citizen's arrest on this woman not because she didn't pay her bill, but because he was actually concerned about her well-being because of how weird she was acting. So because of this, you know, the police officers, they handcuff her and they put her in the cop car. And the restaurant also informed Grandma Mildred that Mitrice was being taken to the police station. At which point, Grandma Mildred called Mama Lettice to tell her, hey, she's being taken to the police station. Because Mitrice was being taken to the police station, Mama Lettice, she wants to come get her. She calls the police station and she asks what's going to happen to Mitrice. Is she going to be released tonight or tomorrow?
I am calling. I'm a little frazzled right now. I understand my daughter is being brought into the station. Mitrice Richardson. Have they made it to the station yet? And she's been booked.
Okay, do you know where she's coming from?
It's some restaurant out in Malibu, and I didn't even think to get the name. The manager's name is...
The only place we have somebody that's in custody that they just announced on the radio that they're coming up is from Joffrey's in Pacific Coast Highway. It's the only female that's being brought up to the station as we speak. They actually just put it on the radio right before you called.
Okay. I'm her mother.
Oh, okay.
And are you guys going to book her and then release her on her own recognizance tonight? Because it's dark, she doesn't have a car, and I don't want her wandering out. I'm totally just taken aback because this is so out of character for her. Yeah. And you'll see when she comes in, she's well spoken. I think the only way I will come and get her tonight is if you guys are going to release her tonight.
Yeah.
If she's going to be held in custody for some type of arraignment tomorrow, then I will wait until tomorrow. She definitely has no place, you know, I mean, she's not from that area, and I would hate to wake up to a morning report, girl lost somewhere with her head chopped off, so I guess I would have to come and get her. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're in Agoura Hills. The only thing is, at least in the station here, she will be separated, so nobody's going to be with her. So at least that's, you know, the plus thing, so you don't have to worry about her safety.
Oh, yeah. No, I feel safe with her being in custody. It's being released, but I'm worried about it. It's crazy out here.
Mama Lettice, you know, she pretty much explains that she has a 10-year-old sleeping at home. So if Mitrice isn't going to be released tonight, she's not going to make the 60-mile drive out there, and that she'll just come get her in the morning. As you can hear by the 911 call, they inform the mom that she will not be released until the morning. As she describes in the 911 call, you know, she just doesn't want her daughter out wandering about by herself. Her daughter doesn't have her car. She's acting very strange. She doesn't have a phone. She doesn't have her wallet because her car gets towed. So she just wants her to stay in custody for the night, so at least she knows she's safe. Moving forward, Mitrice is taken on down to the station, and she is being charged with possession and defrauding of an innkeeper. Now, the police officers. These officers made no notes whatsoever about Mitrice and her behavior. This is debated on either the police officers felt that she was acting completely fine and that there was nothing wrong with her, so there was no need to make a note of it, or they didn't want to do additional paperwork. However, the theory that they thought she was fine, I don't see how they couldn't have made notes about it, because the people at the restaurant told the police officers that she wasn't acting right. In the 911 call, you hear her say, I think she's on drugs. Even if the police officers, in their opinion, do not believe that she's acting weird, they still should have made a note of it because that was information that they were given. I don't understand. When Mitrice gets to the station, she's allowed a phone call. It was stated that she did make phone calls, 4 different phone calls. The payphone that was in the police station at the time, they said it was out of service, so they let her use the phone that was behind the desk. The phone that was behind the desk, it doesn't record phone calls like the other phone does. So no one has no idea who she called or if she even called anyone. It was said though that she was heard, I think just like from people sitting around her, she was heard talking on the phone to someone. To this day, we don't know if she actually did call someone and talk to them, if she was just dialing random numbers and talking to herself. So now, September 17th, 2019, it is about 5 o'clock-ish in the morning, and Mama Mitrice wakes up and she's ready to go pick her baby up from the police station. Before she leaves the house, she gives the police station a call to see how much it is going to be to bail her out. I'm assuming to make sure she has the right amount of money on her for when she gets to the station. When she calls to ask this, the police station informs her that Mitrice has been released. And obviously, Mama Mitrice is like, what? What do you mean she's been released? You guys told me she wasn't going to be released until today. And the station says their reasoning for letting her go was because Mitrice had no previous record and that she seemed absolutely fine to them. Quote, she's an adult, end quote. They told Mama Mitrice that they did offer Mitrice to stay and wait in the lobby if she wanted to when she was released, or that she could call someone to come pick her up. Now remember, Mitrice could not remember anybody's phone number except for her grandmother's, so there's no way in hell she could have called her mom to come pick her up. And also she was released a little after midnight. I believe it was like 12:15-ish. When they offered for her to sit in the lobby, Mitrice responded, no thank you. So here we have it. Mitrice is acting Looney Tunes. You know, she's not making any sense. And she is released from this police station at 12:15. And she is in an unknown area. She has no car, no phone, no wallet, no one. Nothing. And she leaves on foot. So, you know, Mama Mitrice, she's kind of freaking out a little bit and she's like, oh my God. So she starts calling around to friends and family members, you know, just asking like, hey, have you guys heard from Mitrice at all? To which everyone that she called was responding, no, we haven't heard from her. We haven't heard from her at all. So Mama Mitrice, she calls back to the police station and she says, I want to file a missing persons report for my daughter because she was released from your facility last night and no one has heard from her. To which the police station tells her, no, kind of, maybe don't do that until she's been missing for 24 hours. Don't worry about it, she'll show up. So it is about 6:30-ish in the morning. The police station gets a call from a gentleman of the name of Bill Smith. He lives about 6 miles away from the police station. Around his house in this Malibu area, it's very mountainous and there's a bunch of hiking trails and such. And Bill calls to report that there is a slim black woman with afro hair chilling on the steps in his backyard. These are his words.
And we just had a strange woman walking through the backyard here. It's a fairly large property, and she was sitting on the steps right on the back of the house here. This is kind of a circular driveway, and the gates were closed, so we don't know where this woman came from.
You said the cross was Wood Bluff?
Yeah, that's right. There's a horse trail, hiking trail access through here, but we've never had this kind of thing happen before.
What'd she look like? White, black, Hispanic?
You know, a tall, slim black woman with afro hair.
About how tall?
Well, she was sitting down, stretched out on the wooden steps in the back of the house. Hard to tell, but she looked like she might have been medium to slightly tall, with a big afro hair, very skinny. And I think she was wearing maybe jeans or tight pants with a T-shirt.
You've never seen her there before?
No, never. Nobody ever does that. I mean, the people hike on the trail all the time. The trail goes through our property, but we leave it open on purpose because it's kind of a nice thing for horses and people.
Smith says he came out there, or kind of, I think maybe yelled out there to her, asked her yo, like, you alright? Can I help you? To which she replied, I am just resting. So I think he kind of like walks away from the window or whatever and possibly like goes to the kitchen to grab the phone maybe or something. I don't know. But he walks away from the window. He comes back and she is now gone. She's just vanished. So a couple of deputies, you know, they go out to Smith's house and they go to investigate the scene and whatnot. Now keep in mind, these deputies did not arrive at this house until about 8 hours later. They go out there, they are searching around, they can't find Mitrice anywhere. Mama Mitrice, she has had it. She's very, very concerned with her daughter, so she actually goes to the police station and says, listen, I want to file a missing persons report for my daughter. Just like every mama knows, she knows in the pit of her stomach something is wrong, something's going on. Now, this is at the point where Mama Mitrice, she reaches out to, this woman is a psychiatrist, where Mitrice did an internship for. So she's a psychiatrist and she actually knows Mitrice. This woman has grown very concerned that Mitrice is showing very severe symptoms of oncoming signs of a mental illness. They went to her Facebook and her MySpace page. They noticed on her Facebook the morning of, before she went missing, September 16th, that she had made about 66 posts, just over and over and over, 66 posts, and it is just ramblings of nonsense. Mama Mitrice is extremely worried because she knows her daughter. She claims that her daughter does not like walking and she does not like the outdoors. She's not a big wilderness girl. And on top of all of that, she is deathly afraid of the dark, which, same, I would be terrified. It's super dark out there. So fast forward to September 19th, Mitrice is about 48 hours missing. They brought in search dogs to Smith's house to see if they can kind of pick up Mitrice's scent. The dogs did pick up her scent and they followed it up along this path to another neighbor's house, and from there the scent was lost. So now she has just disappeared without a trace. We have no idea where she's at, where she went, nothing. We don't have even a crumb. On September 23rd, the case was transferred from Missing Persons Unit to the Robbery and Homicide Unit. Once they transferred it to the homicide unit, first thing they wanted to do was search throughout Mitrice's car. Inside her car, they find her phone and her wallet, which, shocker. And once they did find her wallet, obviously one of the first things they did was check her bank statements. In her account, they see that she has over $2,000, so she absolutely would have had no trouble paying for her dinner, you know. I mean, she's got that dancing money. She's got cash. Also within her car, they found her journals. In her journals, it says absolutely just off-the-wall bizarre things. A psychiatrist does believe that based on what she wrote in these journals, that she had not slept for at least 3 days. Fast forward a little bit in time, this case is now caught on by the media. Once this case does hit the media, people are starting to get extremely upset because of people believing that the police station did not take care of the situation properly. People believe that she should not have been released, which I 100% agree. I don't think that was very right of them. One of the main reasons people were super upset is because a few months before this had happened, Mel Gibson was arrested, I believe, for drunk driving. He was kept overnight. Not only did they release him the next day, police officers actually drove him to his house. This raises the question, you know, how come a very rich and famous white man gets this kind of treatment, but a unknown African-American woman is just released without any care in the world? Police station denies that they had any knowledge whatsoever of her mental issues. They claim to them she seemed absolutely fine, that there was nothing wrong with her. However, it was discovered that on September 20th, there was an email between the captain and lieutenant, and in this email, the lieutenant is explaining to the captain he was uneasy and uncomfortable releasing her that night, and that he felt she was acting very strange. So, you know, the police station is saying she seemed fine to us, but there's an email. There's an email from your lieutenant where he is clearly saying, yo, I don't know if we should have released her. I didn't feel great about that situation. At this point, Mama Lettice is feeling like she is just not getting any support whatsoever from this police station, so she hires a civil rights attorney. On January 9th, about 4 months after Mitrice is now missing, a search of around 200 people goes out, and everybody goes out searching for her. Nothing is found. A little bit after that search, Michael, the real father of Mitrice, he is out in Vegas, and he claims that he saw Mitrice walking down the street. So he runs up to her and he's calling her like, Mitrice, Mitrice. And the woman sees him and kind of runs off a little bit and kind of goes off into the crowd, and he can't catch up with her. And the dad claims that he knows it was her. He is saying, I know that was her. I saw her. She was working as a prostitute in Las Vegas. Throughout all of this time, the family is asking the police station for surveillance footage from when Mitrice was in the police station. Now, the police station is literally claiming that they don't have any surveillance footage of Mitrice the night she was in the station. How is that possible? How does a police station not have any surveillance footage? What? So finally, on March 29th, they make up some kind of bullshit excuse and say, oh, we didn't have any surveillance footage of her outside. What? I believe they finally gave over surveillance footage to this family because this civil rights attorney was just really pushing for it. Finally, they see a little bit of surveillance footage of Mitrice, and the family says that when they do see her, you can see her in her cell, and she's kind of swaying back and forth a little bit. She's acting a little agitated and whatnot, and the family claims that she is indeed acting abnormally. And again, the police station is like, what? No, she seems fine to us. So, according to the footage, she was released at 12:28 a.m. Whenever you see her, she's being walked out of the jail with a jailer, a police officer, a deputy, whoever. As she's walking out of the building, they pass another deputy coming into the police station. Family asks and questions the police station about this because they're like, hold on a second, who is that? Because you guys told us that there were no other deputies here that night. Why did you tell us that there was no other deputies here that night when that guy is walking in the building? This police station is just not being very honest. They're not being cooperative. They're being aggravating as hell, and they're just kind of being really scummy and dirty and gross. Fast forward a little bit in time, another close friend claims that he saw Mitrice in Los Angeles. He said he was in a casino, saw who he believed was Mitrice, called out to her and said, Mitrice, and was running after her. The woman, whoever it was, appeared to be scared and frightened and turned around and ran in the other direction. After that, it has been recorded that more than 70 people have claimed to have seen Mitrice in Las Vegas. So investigators were sent out to investigate and see if they can find her. They come back and they're like, we can't find her. She's not there. So finally, I don't know if they were park rangers or officers or whatnot, but two of them are walking around in this, the Malibu Canyon-y area, and they come across this place known as the Dark Canyon. This place is extremely difficult to get to, and it is said to be a place that unless you know it's there, there's no way you can get to it. When these two park rangers or police officers go into the Dark Canyon-ish area, they discovered what seems to be a body. I didn't put the date, but it was in August of next year. This is almost a full year that Mitrice has been missing. They come up onto what seems to be this body, and they discover that it is a skeleton. The skull, it still has dark curls attached to it, and then there is some hair close to the body. And nearby are women's clothes. It was later determined that the body discovered was the body of Mitrice. Her right leg was said to be 6 feet away from the body, and according to a professional, there seemed to be no signs of animal disturbance anywhere. Now, that fact alone is extremely strange, right? How is there no disturbance of animals on this body if this body had supposedly been sitting there in this area for almost a year? I mean, it's in the middle of the woods, for God's sake. Like, there are coyotes out there, there's all kinds of animals out there. Also, her left arm was flexed very tightly in a very strange way. So apparently this area where they found the body, it was so difficult to access that the coroner actually couldn't even get to the body, I guess with his van. So in order to get her body out of there, it actually had to be picked up by a helicopter, kind of like, it reminded me of Hunger Games. And because of that, they were not able to get any pictures of this body. Insane. Which also baffles me. Like, you would think that at least the coroner, without his van, could make it to this place and go inspect the body, look at the body, take pictures of the body. Luckily, one of the park rangers that did discover the body, he took pictures of the body with his cell phone. Now, they're not professional pictures, you know, they're shitty cell phone pictures, but I guess it's better than nothing. There were no signs of trauma or violence to the body, and the cause of death was determined to be unknown. The women's clothes that were next to the body that was recovered was jeans, a belt, a bra, and that's it. 2 of her shirts were unaccounted for, her socks, shoes, and underwear. When questioned, okay, so how come some of her clothes are here but not like her other clothes, because, you know, she was wearing other clothes, police say, well, animals must have gotten to them. Oh, okay. Okay, so what you're saying is animals can now undress people. And animals can take the clothes away. They can do something with the clothes that are missing from this body, but not disturb the body itself. Gotcha. So poor Mama Mitrice, she now has to take matters into her own hands again, and she hires a forensic anthropologist, and he takes a look at the photos that the park ranger took. So the head of the body was found detached completely, and 5 of the neck bones were missing. This forensic anthropologist said he had many questions about, first of all, how this body was discovered in the first place, and second of all, how the body was discovered, as in like how it was. For example, in an interview, he said that her left arm was flexed in such a way that would not have been caused from natural causes, and I guess the way it was flexed, there was no kind of like rock or anything to hold the left arm up in that position, so it's unclear as to why her left arm was like that. It just didn't make sense. He also stated that the scene was not treated as a homicide when it should have been. None of the clothes or the hair or anything were sent to labs to be tested from this scene, which is absolutely mind-boggling. What are you talking about? Why? Why aren't we testing the damn clothes and the hair? Another piece of evidence that I found extremely interesting was when they discovered the body, in the hair they found an earring kind of tangled in the hair. It was not reported that Mitrice was wearing this earring. So, like, what? Why is there this earring? Also, the earring was not examined. What else do you expect at this point? The forensic anthropologist also noted that in the pictures he sees a pinkish hue on the teeth. Apparently this means that it's possible that that is a sign of strangulation. However, in order to determine if that was strangulation, you would need to check the neck bones, and 5 of the neck bones were missing. So we can't determine if that was strangulation or not. July of 2011, her body was exhumed and brought to the LA Crime Laboratory. Now, this coroner also says that the cause of death is undetermined and that there were no signs of homicide or violence. Both Mama Mitrice and Michael filed lawsuits against the LA Sheriff's County Department. They were both settled and they both got a decent amount of money. The department to this day still claims that they did nothing wrong. The family did try to reach out and they wanted to kind of have the way the police station handled that situation investigated, and they were denied because of lack of evidence. That is the very odd, strange, horrible story of Mitrice Richardson, and to this day we have no idea what happened to her. There's many theories. I would love to hear what your guys' theories are on this situation. I have no idea. I mean, I really don't. Like, half of me thinks, okay, so what if there was like this corrupt police officer? Maybe he like saw no one was there at the police station for her, so he kind of like sold her off to like this sex trade industry, and now she's working as a prostitute in Vegas. And you guys, that kind of stuff happens. Like, I always get made fun of by friends and family because I'm always worried that something like that's gonna happen to me. But it happens. It's also theorized and possible that while she was walking along that road, somebody came and offered her a ride and possibly murdered her and did what they did. Other theory is that Mitrice was just suffering from a very severe mental illness and was starting to show very severe signs of it. It's possible that she just wandered up there and died of natural causes. It just doesn't make sense because the area in which the body was found, unless you know that area is there, you don't just stumble upon it. It's really hard to get to. I don't know. So it's completely up in the air. We have no idea. Again, I would love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down below, like, what are your theories? What do you think about this case? Did you like it? And also, did you like this video of me talking about this true crime case and doing my makeup at the same time? If you did, let me know down below and I'll do some more. I wanted to do this one in particular just in case I don't do any more. This was one of my favorite cases because it is such a mystery. It's so weird, so I wanted to at least do this one. Maybe, hopefully, beauty time with true crime will become a normal thing. I hope. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone is doing okay and not suffering too much from this horrible coronavirus time. And I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. Bye! Stay safe out there.